Hello everybody, and welcome to the Misadventures channel. I am Gina, and this is going to be my second video on repotting Dendrobium Phalaenopsis orchids. This Dendrobium Phalaenopsis was a rescue that I picked up outside of my office. If you've watched my video on the ginseng ficus, I had possibly said that I had picked up two plants, and this was the second one. They were both discarded in a box with some batteries and a broken flashlight out by the curb, and I guess whoever had them before did not want them, or maybe they moved out and left them behind. Either way, they look like trash, and they sat there for a couple of weeks when I went ahead and picked them up, because if nobody else was going to care for them, I thought I would give it a try. As you can see, this Denphal is growing. It has, oh, sorry, my light is kind of bad there. It has this, this new cane growing here, and a tiny little one growing here on this little sad keiki, and then there is another little keiki back here. When I picked this Denphal up, it was in a sort of a sad shape. You could tell that the canes were a little desiccated, and whoever owned this previously had chopped several of them off quite bluntly, but it did have two very large, very nice looking canes that had some good leaf growth on them. However, it now looks like this, and this is because of my cat Paxel. I brought this plant home to rescue it, and I put it on the dining room table and went to have dinner, and by the time I came back, he had chewed up these two canes. He had chewed this one pretty much all the way through. Oops, forgive the soil under my fingernails. He had chewed this one pretty much all the way through, so I went ahead and chopped it off. This one, as you can see, has a lot of holes in it. I pretty much knew it wasn't going to be saved, but I wanted to try to save it, especially because this had just sprouted this new growth, and I wanted to give it its best chance at growing. And I thought, well, if I leave this on with these leaves, you know, and any energy that was left in this cane, hopefully it would help this new growth go ahead and you know, get going. I'm a little concerned about the medium that it's in. Again, this is the same very coarse bark medium that I planted the other Dendrobium Phal in originally, and I just don't feel that these guys are getting enough moisture. On the other Denphal that stayed in this medium for a lot longer, the roots, a lot of them dried out, even though I was watering it quite frequently. I think just because of the amount of air space in between the pieces of bark in this mixture. And I just want to give this guy the best chance that he can, considering as how I already kind of massacred him a little bit by leaving him out with my kitty cat. So I would like to repot this in the medium that I used in the last video. It's also a bark mix, but it's got some more fine pieces that fill in the spaces a little more, and I really just want to retain some more moisture around these roots so that they can stay moist, stay green, and hopefully help this plant keep growing. I don't know if I should be repotting this right now while it's in a growth mode. Probably not, and I'm sure I could look that up online, maybe with one of Miss Orchid Girl's videos. I'm sure she has information about that, but I'm a little impatient, so I'm just going to go ahead and do this now and get it over with, and hopefully I do right by this little guy, because he's already had such a hard life being thrown out by his last owner. Oh, and the pot that he was in previously, I thought he was potted in dirt, but it was actually bark medium as well, but it was just so old and desiccated, or deteriorated, I guess, that it had, you know, fallen apart and was no good anymore and was basically turning into soil. I'll probably let these leaves fall off on their own and see if this cane just dries out. If it doesn't look like anything is spreading down, I'll just leave it alone, or I may chop it off. As you can see, this one seems to be doing okay, and I know there's still energy in here because it's not dried out or anything. So let me go ahead and pause, and I will get together my supplies and start repotting this with you all. Okay, so I'm back and I have my supplies gathered together. As in the last video, I have the coarse bark mix here and the more fine to medium, or medium to fine really, bark mix here. I have unpotted the den phal from the plastic pot. Again, it's just resting in there. This Dendrobium phal has a lot more roots than our last one, and as you can see, there's actually some nice green roots, so I know these are growing. Hopefully I'm not screwing this up by doing it while it is growing, actively growing both its new growth here, this new cane, and the live roots. But like I said, I'm trying to give this guy the best shot, and I hope I'm doing right by him. So same type of pot, orchid pot, unglazed ceramic. The unglazed ceramic does breathe, and moisture will exit through the actual ceramic. However, because of the type of medium we are using, it should retain more moisture than being in this tiny little pot with a lot of coarse bark. You can see the size of bark in there. I hope you can see the size of bark in there. And there's some pretty big pieces. It's pretty much this type of stuff. So that I don't think is very good for the den phals to be growing in. Although that is what I'm going to use right now for the base of this pot. As you can see, it's much larger, once again, than the plastic pot that the den phal has been in. So I'm going to start with that on the bottom. Sorry, I keep saying so much, guys. I am trying to stop myself from doing that. So let's go ahead and just fill this up. Probably less than that, because this guy does have more roots than the last one. And let's see if we can get him to stand up in here a little bit. Since this cane grew out sideways and that one's growing more upright, I'm going to go ahead and try to pot it up so that this guy, this new guy, can grow a little bit like that. These other canes which have been cut, I don't want to put them like this so that that's completely upright. We'll just go ahead and set it in here like that. I will try to fill in around this. We'll put some more coarse pieces just to kind of fill in the larger spaces, and then in the roots I'm going to put the more fine bark. This bark seems to be shredded, not so much decomposed, so hopefully, sorry, I'm just getting you a shot of the pot there, or the bowl. Hopefully it doesn't deteriorate quickly. Hopefully it'll just maintain the moisture like I'm trying to for this little den phal. Well, I guess he was a big den phal, but now he's going to be a little den phal because he lost his big canes or is in the process of losing them. I'm going to go ahead and pause this again. I need to refill on both my coarse bark mix and my fine bark mix. And probably when I come back, you'll see this all potted up. Okay, everyone, so here's this den phal all potted up. I put some of the coarse bark mix here on the top just to kind of fill in the space, but I did use a lot of the finer and medium bark mix around the roots. Didn't really know what to do with this little cakey back here. He's coming off of an old cane, and the cane, I guess, was underneath the medium in the previous pot. Not the one that I had it in, the little plastic one, but the pot that it was in when I rescued it. it seems to be deteriorating a lot, and I might need to just clip it off and try to take care of this on its own. But if it is still getting any energy from the mother plant here, I would like to go ahead and leave it on for a while, at least till it gets a little bigger. It's still pretty small, as is this one right here, but here it is all planted up and or potted up, excuse me, and hopefully it will do better in this, and hopefully I do not stunt its growth or kill off any roots by transplanting it while this spike, well, it's not a spike, this cane here is growing, this new growth is growing. Again, I'm going to let these leaves fall off on their own. As you can see, this one is already starting to fall off, and the others I'm sure will follow shortly after. As you can see, they're yellowing quite a bit. I may go ahead and trim both of these canes back further at some point, probably this one around in here somewhere, and probably this one down here as well, about the height of these previous ones or a little higher, just because, as you can see, that is where the cat chewed on it. And I make a little promise to this guy not to leave him alone with the cat anymore. So thank you for joining me again. Hope to see you back next time.